Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this Sunday's conversation. And thank you so much if you're joining live. Oh, the notification just popped. We're so quick with it. But thank you so much if you're watching the replay, because I completely understand if you have, other things to do, you're busy, you have other streams to watch, completely fine. And what we're going to talk today, at least we start with it, and then maybe we finish the topic, within 5 minutes, and then we move on, because why not? Is what should or shouldn't be in a tarot deck and why. And just a disclaimer, I'm not claiming, and Sarah either, we're not claiming to be experts. I'm not even saying we're going to have an opinion. I just find this topic interesting, and I thought that, we could have a conversation, not just with Sarah, because I wanted Sarah back on my channel, obviously. So this was just a ruse. But you guys in the comments as well. So,
I was going to say, has to be a clever one, though, because it worked.
I'm very smart. I know how to do these things. Like, oh, let's talk about something serious. And then like, you're on my channel.
Like, you're on my channel. Now we're just going to have a good time.
And this just reminded me that I promised to schedule a live, and I forgot to do that. So I'm going to do that after this one. Because I will have 4 lovely people on my channel on the 18th of December for our Yule Christmas themed celebratory stream, which I will schedule after this one. So please look out for that as well. And Sarah is going to be amongst those lovely people. So
yes.
I will shut up because I talked for 2 minutes now almost. So thank you, Sarah, for being here.
Well, thank you for having me back on. I always love coming to hang out with you and to see everybody. And it's just a fun, great way to spend some time on a lovely Sunday afternoon, on a day off finally after a long week, just having a great time with people, Yeah.
Okay. We have Marie here. Thank you so much for being here. Like, she's the only one, I think, who's at the same time zone as me, because she's in Germany, I think. Like, she's back home. I think so. So, like, same time zones. Yay! Because time zones, honestly, that shouldn't be in a tarot deck either. Because, good thing it's not in a tarot deck. I don't even know how I would deal with time zones,
Time changes are weird enough, let alone time zones.
Yeah, I mean, I missed out on, yes, Germany. Okay, cool. I missed out on a deck. I did not completely, because it's going to be restocked, but there's a holographic version for the True Black Tarot.
Ooh,
I'm just saying, I didn't
know how much you like that.
And it's holographic, and I was like, should I get it? Shouldn't get it? Like, and then I was asking my sister, and she replied too late, and I was already falling asleep, last night. And then today I saw like do it, and I was like, oh, okay. And then I checked that it's sold out, and I was like, So I will have to get up in the middle of the night on Thursday, I think. That's the 3 a.m. gonna be for me, because I kind of want the holographic too. Like, I really want it.
I know how that goes. It's like, unfortunately, you get that situation of so many pretty things, and you can give it a budget.
Yeah, and it's limited. But there's a discount code for people who backed the ephemera tarot. So I'm like, and it's limited edition, and it's like, I should make good use of that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
there's exceptions, and of course there are some that you're just like, you know what, this is worth saving up for 6 months for.
And I mean, Make Playing Cards just paid my commission for the past few months of decks that I sold. So I'm like, I would just, turn that into a new deck. It makes sense, right?
Right. Which, by the way, been using your Zombie Tarot. I love the 2nd season so much.
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, I still don't have the pocket version, but but I want to be mean, and I want to show you guys a few pictures of the deck.
Yay!
Because I don't want to suffer alone. I want people to suffer with me. Because look at that.
Oh my goodness, shiny. Oh
yeah.
I'm a magpie. I'm a magpie. Like my shiny decks.
So yeah. So that's already a question. Should, for example, foiling and like holographic shininess should be in a tarot deck, or is this something that will distract us from the meaning. Are we like getting, and I mean about the we as me, like sometimes I wonder if I'm getting too wrapped up in external things,
Right. No, I see what you mean. And I will admit that for me, oh my God, look at that. That's beautiful.
I got this on the fountain painting, like shine. Now, I
I
don't know. I can
love,
show you the. Oh, look.
yeah. Oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. Like,
Pretty.
I will admit to being a magpie, I get distracted by the shiny. It's really easiest marketing tip for to get me to buy something is to add the shiny gold foiling or holographic this or whatever. Now, does it add anything other than aesthetics? In my opinion, no, not necessarily. I get just as good readings from my plain old, battered up 27-year-old Rider Waite with no frills. And
Yeah.
sometimes you like that, Sometimes you just kind of want that simplicity. So I really just think it's kind of your mood. Like sometimes in the winter, I want something pretty and sparkly and shiny to kind of perk my mood up. Other
Oh,
times, I want something
that's
that is just simple, minimalist, no frills that will just give me the message because my brain is not handling a lot of things right now and I just want something simple, direct. I can get a quick meaning from it in my head, make a quick journal entry, be about my day. I've had my little meditation and I'm happy. So I guess it just kind of depends. Oh, and before I forget, because again, my brain is a squirrel, and I know we're both huge fans of House of the Dragon, I have a appearance.
oh,
I have a dragon stone.
oh, that's really cool.
Isn't it?
Oh, I need a sphere. I kind of need one. Like I need to make a holder like that they have on the table. And I can be like,
Right?
I'm gonna start my tarot reading. Placing the holder.
Council's in session. Pull out the Game of Thrones tarot.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So yeah, Maria said I don't mind shiny things in a deck, especially new decks, just not the millionth version of an RWS. And I'm guilty. I made a Galaxified version as well because, but I put shiny things in that, so
But
there are
it's
sparkly
pretty.
things in that.
It is pretty. And sometimes, as much as you like those images, you get a little bored with them too.
Yeah, that's why it's good to have multiple decks. So you can change. So
Yeah.
Donna says honestly, the things that would distract me most is if I either feel that I can't read today, that the deck is too expensive to use, or if I have some kind of negative connotation around the deck or its creator. If I have the later
That's a
one,
good point.
yeah, and if I have the later, there are decks that I didn't get because I don't like the creator, and I'm not naming names, but there are political differences, and value system
Yeah.
that I'm like, I just don't like you as a person. I can't read with your deck because I'm reminded of you when I think about the deck. And it's interesting that when I like the deck, I don't think about the creator,
Right.
like ever. But when I don't like the creator, I just can't use the deck. So it's kind of like an interesting thing.
And
But
I can understand that, and it's difficult, I mean, and I'm the first person who will try to separate the creation from the creator and
but
not.
not always.
I try to do that with certain things, but at the same point, acknowledge the fact that yes, this person has some very problematic things about them that I don't like. Will
Yeah.
I buy the bit from them directly? Probably not. I'm more likely to, if I find it secondhand and I really
Yeah,
like it,
because
gently
I'm
use
not
it,
giving
I'll
money.
do it that way.
I mean, I'm
Rather
trying.
than.
Yeah, I'm trying to buy a second-hand tarot bot version because, okay, naming names after all. But I said it, like a few times already. At other lives that I just don't like his political views. The creators, he's entitled to them. You're entitled to whatever you want to do, but no one is selling the deck, so I don't think I can get it secondhand because just I don't think a lot of people knows about the problems because I didn't know. I was just in a live stream when people told me, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I googled it, and it was true. So there are not enough information, and like I said, I'm not saying that you shouldn't if you find something problematic, but at least it's good if you know. And before we move on from the shiny things, I have a new tarot deck which I traded. It's the Octopus Tarot. and
Oh,
it has
a
some
little bit of bling. Yeah. It's
shiny
really cute,
thing.
actually.
Yeah. And I just wanted to say that sometimes the gold, or like stamping and the shiny part of a deck can actually highlight something on the card, so it can
Yeah.
actually highlight a new
Yeah.
aspect, for
Again,
example.
I guess it's
So
how it's used, right?
yeah, is it purely for just aesthetic, or is there a meaning? And then it has a completely, but I mean, both ways, obviously. It's just
Exactly.
that, yeah.
Yeah. And I can see Donna's point about, wow, this is a really expensive, lush deck. I'm
Yeah,
almost afraid to use it. I can kind of understand that too, because I do have some decks that I will not riffle shuffle for just that reason. So that's definitely a
I
valid point too.
yeah, I mean, I kind of worked on that issue in myself, I think, for 20 plus years. So I now I can be like, I don't care, I'm going to use it. I will refer shuffle the true black as well, because that's my most expensive deck today until the next one comes in. Or if I can get the holographic or the 5th-year anniversary edition, because that's going to be more, but what ifs.
Yep.
And I still, yeah, I still going to use it, because if I just put it away in a box, and it was a very expensive, beautiful piece of paper, and then that's
Yeah, not that you can't collect them for art, not that there's anything
yeah,
wrong
I'm
with
just
that,
not
but
that.
I'm
Yeah, it's
very
not me.
much
Yeah,
of the same opinion of where if I'm paying the money for it, I'm gonna use it, even if it's only a little.
yeah, and nothing is wrong with collecting. I'm not collecting shaming
Yeah,
anybody.
exactly.
I just don't. I try not to collect things, because I can easily get into the mood of, "Oh, I'm getting this. Now I have all the decks of this creator. Should I get all the other that are coming to And I don't want to do that. So
Right.
it's a
That
conscious
can be a
choice.
pretty tricky rabbit hole to navigate. That's very true.
Yeah, and Maria said, "What I don't like if the shiny things make it difficult to shuffle, or the gilded edges giving me paper cuts." And that's absolutely true. And I was just using the Sephiroth tarot today, and that gilding is the usual kind of gold, and it cuts into a little bit of my. I don't like that. That's the kind of gilding that I don't like. But the Octopus tarot actually has gold gilding, and it's soft. It's a very interesting but good gilding, because it's not that
Yeah, and I can understand
annoying.
that. Like, if it's hard for you to shuffle or it's,
Hmm.
you know, painful to shuffle, I can see where that would
Yeah.
definitely be a deterrent from a deck. I've never really had a problem with
Mm.
gilding, but I have very tough little hands, even though they're tiny.
Mine are
So
soft, tiny, like you used, like weak, soft, weak. I've never worked hands.
nothing wrong with that. I abuse my hands. I'm terrible. That's probably why I don't get cuts. And honestly, the only deck that I own, even though I have some bigger ones that I have trouble shuffling, is my inner child cards because they're darn
Mm.
near the size of my head.
Oh
They
my god.
are, you literally can barely only overhand them. You can't do them
Uh-huh.
sideways. You can't riffle. There's no stinking other way to shuffle those cards. And I work with it. I don't mind it because I like the images and
Yeah,
they're one of the better ones I found for inner child work. But yeah,
that's
I
good.
can definitely see where that'd be a barrier for some people. They're like, no,
Absolutely.
this is just too big for my hands. And
It
while I'm not,
happens to me.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, sorry. It's just agreeing that, yeah,
Yeah,
it's an issue.
definitely. Because I'm not a big deck modder. I'm too afraid
Ah,
to screw it up. And I'm also very much kind of the if I really like it, I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna try to use it as is. I'm gonna work with the deck, which isn't to say I
mhm.
haven't seen some beautiful modifications, especially edging. Oh,
Yeah,
some people have done just like edging the tarot vampires in a nice, beautiful, bright blood red. Oh yeah,
I can see
definitely,
that. Oh,
definitely. Husband.
yeah. Dogs, right? It's like no monsters in the cupboard, but those are dogs. And yeah, I mean, I love modding my decks, so obviously I love chopping things off, and I like edging things, so that's not an issue for me. But size could be something that um it's part of deciding on if it should be a tarot deck, even if it's if it's bigger than a tarot size, for example.
Yeah.
Donna says, I try to be careful with all of my decks, but if I'm so worried about damaging it, it will interfere with my connection for sure. It's a good reason for me not to spend too much money on a single deck. Awesome for you. I mean, I wish I could be like that.
But and I
But
can
I want the
understand
shiny.
the point. Because honestly, I like having a few just plain old mass market decks in my collection that I can use and abuse and shuffle how I want and not have to worry about
Yeah.
beating the cards up. Because let's be honest, cards feel better when they have a little bit of character anyway. And when you get into that nice point where they're just that littlest bit soft from shuffling, that's awesome anyway. So
Yeah, to be honest, I really love, and I don't really have a lot of decks that actually shows where, because I have so many decks and they keep coming in still, even though I really, honestly, I slowed down with purchasing now. I just buy the expensive ones, sometimes, which is like not a good thing. But yeah, I actually love it because it kind of makes me appreciate it more, like a really good used book. It,
right,
it has a different
exactly.
feeling.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I don't like books that are written all over unless it's a textbook, but I
Yes,
mean, stuff that's
same,
got that
same.
good warm feel is great.
Yeah, and yes, mass market decks are easier, much easier to replace. Even if they become out of print, more people have it than who are maybe willing to let go of it. So
Part with
yeah.
it for like a not astronomical price. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Los Carabeo is Maria's favorite cardstock, and I'm just thinking about which deck. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a few oracles. I can't remember, but yeah, it's a shinier, because I used to have the Santa Muerte, but I gifted it away, so I don't have it anymore.
That's
I
one of
mean,
my
I
favorites.
wanted
It's
to love
actually
it,
on
but
my table right now.
oh
I like using that in November, like
yeah,
right around Dia de los Muertos. One of my favorite decks to use this time of
yeah.
year.
I mean, I wanted to like it, but I just wasn't connecting with the art style. But I have the Sugar Skull tarot instead now, and I really like that one.
Yeah, and that's like me. I love the art on that and the vibrant colors. But again, different stress for different folks. Like the newer Los Scarabeo stock actually is the closest that I have to things that hurt my hands because it's so
Oh,
plasticky that the edge of those cards can sometimes really
yeah, I
feel
can
like it
remember.
cuts into my fingers until I really get it kind of broke in.
Uh,
It hurts.
yeah. Hi, Kim.
Well,
Thank you so much for being here,
thank
and
you.
obviously, thank you for watching it. So let's skip to a harder question, because why
Okay.
I wanted you to be on this topic actually is when I watched your, oh god, it was a VR to, I think, Simon. It was the tarot. There was some tarot 2020 or
All
some,
about you or something like
ah,
one of
yeah,
those
that,
ones. Yeah.
yeah, which I meant to link, but I completely forgot. But that was the pregnant empress question, and that made me start to think about, if we are we doing a disservice to ourselves if we are not putting triggering images in tarot decks, because tarot is supposed to bring up issues, and if a pregnant empress is an issue for you for some reason, and I'm not judging, and I'm not saying it
Oh, I
can't
know.
be
I know.
an
Don't
issue,
worry.
and not
Totally
just
open
you
to discussing
yeah, and
this.
not just you specifically, but for someone it's an issue. I understand that, if something is really, really triggering, you take it out because there's a time and place to deal with it. I'm not talking about that much of a trauma based reaction. Just in general, if I don't like because I don't want kids or whatever the reason, if that card comes up, isn't it something that wants you to deal with an issue? And if the probably that imaginary you is only picking decks that doesn't have a pregnant empress, are you depriving yourself from an actual chance of learning something important, or is just that is it in my head? It's kind of like what I'm
Right.
wondering. And like I said, I'm not trying to be like an expert, or I'm not asking you to be an expert or anyone who's watching. I'm just curious because I'm strongly for the pregnant empress because pregnancy is part of your human experience. And like I said, it can be an issue, but I think it's important for it to be there somewhere in the deck.
Right. Right. And to be honest, I'm one of those people, I refuse to remove a card from the deck. Even if it bothers me, I just deal with it because, like you said, one of the big aspects of tarot is shadow work, and it's trying to make you face your issues. I guess I just get bored and have trouble with that image because it's like, yeah, but not everybody wants to be pregnant, can get pregnant, wants to be reminded of that, which is fine. And maybe if you're having a tough time dealing with it that day, don't use that deck. Use a deck that uses a different thing, and you can come back to it when you're ready to deal with it, right?
That's a good.
And yes, the whole, I mean, let's face it, we all came into this world the same way. Through pregnancy, through somebody. Everybody's got a mom somewhere that had to go through that at some point. So it is an important aspect of, you know, just human life, death, and rebirth. You know, however you want to look at that, it is. It does need to be represented somehow. Me personally, I kind of prefer to see the Empress as a very beautiful woman in a lush garden, surrounded with kids, playing with their kiddos, because that still brings that in. It's still kind of implied, but it's not in your face. But again, I do have to kind of agree with the, but are we dumbing things down? Are we softening things just because we don't want to deal with triggers? And yeah, that can be okay when we're having a rough day with that issue. But I do feel like sooner or later, it's better to kind of face it. Eventually, you have to get to a space where you can face it, because the idea of having a trauma or a trigger is to eventually lessen its impact on you and to be able to move beyond it. Because what's one of the things we're trying to do with tarot? Self-growth. Yeah. Trying to grow beyond all of that. That's why I've really gotten into things like the Outgrow Yourself and the Reclaim Oracle. Because, because it's not body beautiful, and it's dealing with those tough, sticky issues, you know, and that can be tough. Just like the Hierophant and the Devil can be really, really difficult cards for people who have, you know, trauma from growing up in maybe really oppressive religious backgrounds, and that can really bother them. But at the same point, you do kind of want that organized teacher community, you know, and you need that representation of vice, of addiction, of that, you know, the negative sides, you know. And of course, obviously, you know, sometimes, you know, you need to say, screw what society thinks. I'm tired of being judged. I like what I like. Yeah. Like I said, it's, you know, it's just, for me, for example, I kind of want to talk about this in a video. So it's just, I'm just going to say that obviously, because of I have nephews, you know, teeny tiny babies around me, pregnancy and being pregnant and stuff like that came up much bigger than previously. And I realized that I have some unresolved issues, which I think that I thought that I didn't have. And then I was put in a situation where I was like, oh, I do have some issues here. And dealing with it, tarot is a very, you know, useful thing. And when I was doing readings about it, a pregnant empress was showing me something that, hey, there is something to work there. But I really like what you said, that, you know, having options is a good thing, because if you're not there in that moment, that's why I had my Affirmators tarot, because I was like, I can't deal with anything. I need the fluffiest thing ever. So yeah, I kind of like that, you know, have options. And when you're not in that headspace, don't use it, but don't forever put it away, because that would make you would serve as a make you disservice. Is that a sentence? I don't even know. Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, you can only shove things down for so long before they really do start coming back up. And that's where a lot of that comes from, because you shove it down so far. It's like, did that even exist? And then you think it doesn't, and then it comes back up. Yeah, and it exactly. You deal with it, and it's 10 times worse. Also, you know, I honestly thought that I was okay with certain things, and then things came up, and I realized that I'm not okay, and I have to deal with all the volcanoes of emotions, which, you know, as you know, I'm very, very, very good at dealing with emotions. Oh, yeah. I'm the poster child. All of us ADHDs over here are so great at that. Yeah. Exactly. not.
Emotions. But
Yeah,
yeah,
you were a little kid when I was growing up. Emotions, what are those?
what emotions? You feel things, like. No, I'm
Right?
sure I
Yeah.
was different as a kid, but then life happened, and
Oh, believe me, as
yeah.
somebody with lots
So
of unresolved childhood bullying trauma. Yeah.
I mean, I don't even have that. I just mine comes from the teenage years when everybody, all the girls were presented with these insane body images and
Oh
what
my
you need
God.
to be
Right?
liked, and I'm still not over those completely. So yeah,
Yeah,
those are
right.
fun.
Let's face it. I don't think anybody wants to go back to middle school. Those really early teen years are like the stinking worst
Yeah,
because it's like everybody gets so judgmental and petty, and you do
I
get
don't
that
think
shoved
any.
down your
Yeah,
face, especially when I was growing up because, that was before they were a little more sensitive to showing diversity. So back then, if you weren't
mm,
the Barbie, basically, with the
normal.
blonde and yeah, with the blonde hair, blue eyes, and big you know whats and tan skin.
You
Guess
mean
what?
tits?
Yeah. And I was always the opposite of that. I'm this tiny, frumpy little pale
I
thing,
mean, trust me. The only thing that I had was big breasts when I was growing up. That sucked. So I was
Yeah.
picked up on because of that. So I don't think anybody has a good
No, they're
experience
gonna
when
find
they're a teenager.
something. And me,
Yeah.
well, my issues, if you want to jokingly call them that, came much later. But when
Mm,
when I was going through that period, I was flat as a board. It was awful.
uh,
I got picked on for
yeah. I mean,
that,
it's
for
just
being
fun.
short, and you know
Not
every little
perfect,
thing under the
exactly.
book they could find. Because plus, nerd was not cool back then, and I have always been just a nerd.
Yeah, I wasn't. My issue was I wasn't. I didn't know. I had no idea who I was. So I didn't know who I was. I couldn't like myself because I didn't know what to like. I just hated. I think nobody was able to hurt me as much as I was able to hurt myself. It's the fun stuff.
And that's the honest to God's truth right there.
Yeah,
You're always your own worst enemy.
yeah.
Nobody will ever have the ability to make you feel as inferior as your own self, and that's
Which is
something I really had to work on.
but if you think about it now, it's kind of good because you're like, oh, you said something like, this is all you have. Like I had worst coming from myself.
Right,
So
like,
like,
right, it's like, come at me, bro.
yeah,
Please.
it's like,
Get pwned,
whatever. So
noob. I got better than that.
yeah, yeah, you're like, you need to level up.
Yeah.
So
So don't
don't
recite the dark magic to be witch. I was there the day it was created.
exactly. Yeah. So that's what I like to do sometimes. I mean, Maria said, and I absolutely agree. The Empress is not just about pregnancy,
Of course
but
not.
um, for me, that creative energy, that
Right.
bringing life into something, a new project, a new whatever you're working on, it's
Right.
a big
Right.
part of the card. So that's why I like it, like the Empress being pregnant, because it's such an in-your-face, obvious representation of the energy on a
Of
card that
everything,
I'm
all
like,
these
this is all
possibilities
about.
and abundance and
Yeah,
prosperity. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So Kim says, as long as the Empress has some key elements that speaks to creativity, abundance, nurturing, attraction, and receiving, I'm good. Yeah, that's good. I mean,
Yeah.
if you know what you're looking for in the card, but I'm curious if anyone in the chat, and you as well, if you don't want pregnancy to be in the Empress because you want the card to be about more, I guess, or just other things, do you want a different card to be representing that, or do you just, for example, read the Ace of Cups as if it comes up, you can be like, oh, in certain situation that's a pregnancy or something like that.
I
So
see
do
what
you
you're saying.
assign a different card, or you just leave it out?
I still will read the Empress the traditional way, as hey, it
Mhm.
could mean this, but it doesn't have
Okay.
to. Although honestly, for like the more nurturing motherly energy, that's the Queen of Pentacles for me. And I
Yeah.
think I think maybe that's because the court cards are so much more grounded and
A
earthly
human.
compared to the majors. It feels like that's the grandmother card.
Ah.
That's Nana. You go to her house and it smells great, and she's got soup on, and she sits there with a thing of hot tea and sits down there. She's like, "Okay, kiddo, what's going on? How you
Mhm.
feeling?" You know, are you eating right? Are you sleeping right? You
Yeah.
know, that kind of energy.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
Mrs. Weasley for me. Absolutely, the Queen of Pentacles. Someone who's there, who's gonna bring you a plate of food, who's gonna hug you no matter how much you hate it because you don't want to be hugged. They're gonna hug you. They're gonna show you love and support, and yeah. So, and I'm just bringing up the pregnancy and the pregnant empress as an example for this topic
mhm.
because that was the first thing that came up. But the other thing that we can talk about is, for example, the death in the Ten of Swords, because some
Yeah.
people don't like that either.
I never really read it that way. I read it
Oh wait,
as
we have
kind of
like we need to block some 69 kind of user. Okay, done. Sorry,
the
we had the troll. I'm just like, oh.
yeah. No, I actually always have read the Ten of Swords as the okay, that was a bad moment. You had either a bad headspace or bad, whatever the Ten of Swords represents. It was bad. Okay,
Hmm.
now what? What
Yeah.
are you going to do? Are you going to lay there in that energy, or are you going to take the opportunity to rise again like the phoenix because you go right back to the ace, right? Are you going to take that as a moment of creative way to burst back up and take those lessons, because we all carry those scars, if you want to put them that way,
Hmm.
because life is tough sometimes. You know, we're not going to sugarcoat that. Life can be absolute shit sometimes, and you go through a lot, but it's all in how you take it. You know, that's that quote from Rocky. You know, nothing's going to hit you as hard as life, but it's not, you know, how
Yeah.
hard you get hit. It's how many times you get back
Get up.
up.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
so in. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
no, that's great. Like, actually, one of the best representations I have of that. Oh, and that card hits home so bad. It's the one in the Modern Witch, where
Uh,
it's the girl with all the, she's laying in a pool of her own blood with all the
yeah.
swords, tears streaming down her face, but she's got the cell phone and she's typing on the cell phone and says, everything's
Oh,
fine,
yeah.
I'm fine. It's like,
Yeah, but it's so
yeah,
I find it interesting because I did a reading today, a pick a card, and the Ten of Swords came up, and I read it as you need to acknowledge that you've been defeated, and you need to be in that energy, because if you try to get up too quickly, you're gonna just pretend that everything was fine, and you're not gonna go through the emotional work that you need to. So it's all, I find it always interesting that we have the same card, as readers, and which aspect are we concentrating on. So I always find these things very fascinating.
yeah. And, you know, you're absolutely right about, you know, when you run into that, you should take your time and process it.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
trolls are amateurs
exactly.
completely the trolls. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes me sad, kind of mad actually, when cards are only reduced to one thing instead of all. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
right?
especially with the majors, like the majors are, you can spend, honestly, if I would spend uh, enough time to explain everything that's in a major card, I think all of my videos, the pick a card ones, be like a whole year, not that, but
Long,
an
because,
hour and
yeah,
a half, yeah, long, because there's so much thing. But specific readings are pulling in a specific aspect of the card. So
right,
that's why, I'm not saying the Empress is just about pregnancy. It's about so many things, but it's just
right.
the issue. It's the thing that most people have an issue with. Most people don't have an issue with nurturing, or being creative, or being motherly even. It's mostly, or usually, is the pregnancy. So that's why I
Right.
was bringing that as an
And, you know,
example.
you have a great point about when you have a negative energy, sometimes you need to sit with it. You need to process it. You need to just say, okay, I'm not okay right now, and I just need to be not okay for a little while. I need to have myself that
Yeah.
cry and kind of flush the system before I can get to the point of where I need to take that step and move forward.
Have you read the? Oh God, I wanted to say the title too quickly. It's like Kitchen Table Tarot, the book.
I had a very short Audible snip that was, I got through the
Ah,
library. I never finished it, but I got it because I wanted to listen to it a little bit and see if it might be something I might be interested in. I kind of like her take on it. I think it interested me enough I might want to look into it a little deeper.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that was one of the books that I read when I started to learn the RWS system. And to me, that was a really, I can't talk, a very useful book. And the meaning she gave kind of stuck with me. And I think she explained explained the 10 of Swords something like, you have 2 weeks to cry, to eat ice cream on the couch, to feel shitty for yourself, to have a pity party. But after the 2 weeks is up, you need to get up and continue life, because life continues. You have to rejoin it. And I kind of try to see which meaning of the card is coming up, but I usually read it as the 2 weeks on the couch, that you need to do the 2 weeks on the couch as well.
Yeah, Kim has a good point about the shadow meanings of cards too, and sometimes they are just as interesting. Like the shadow of the Devil card, for instance, because the Devil card's pretty heavy energy because it's about that oppressive addiction, bad cycles, things feeling kind of trapped. And when you flip that on its head, it's breaking those chains. Yeah, breaking that cycle, or saying, okay, maybe you are in a place where whatever negative loop you've got going on here, you can break it. And even in upright, if you think about it, those chains are not that thick. It's up to you. The power is still in your hands.
But I think with the Devil, I think one of the hardest thing could be to see and to even realize that you have an issue. I think that's where the power of the Devil.
Yeah, because he's really good at tricking you into thinking you're powerless.
I mean, if you think about it, he's the Prince of Illusion. So I mean, in the traditional biblical sense, obviously, which I don't have an issue with, because I didn't grow up as religious. I wasn't scarred, at least that way. And I kind of always think about Lucifer, the Netflix show, that he's the devil that I would probably sell my soul to, which is not a good thing. It's not a good thing. But I can understand that, it's a powerful thing to get addicted to, certain things. And it's not as easy to break those chains, even if sometimes they look like that, I just need to stop this. But stopping that thing can be very, very hard.
Yeah. So, I don't know, especially if you're looking at it from the situation like an abusive relationship. Yeah. You don't know what all has gone into that. And you could say, well, girl, you need to get the hell out of there. And you could say that, but I mean, what kind of complications does that person have? How are they going to get the money to get where they need to get? What about their kids? What about, food security? Where are they going to go? That's all.
It's not just that.
You can't just, you could just sneak out in the middle of the night, but then what the hell are you going to do? You have to have a little bit of empathy for that part of it too. A lot has to go into that, because you can just willy-nilly run because it's the right thing to do, but then what the fuck do you do next, right?
Yeah,
where do
plus
you go?
You don't even. I mean, I used to think that when I was like young, and I had no idea what an abusive relationship looks like. And I'm not saying I have personal experience, because thank God I don't. But I watched enough psychological content now to know that breaking a cycle, it's emotionally a hard thing to do. Like, why do people stay? Because they get used to, they only know that kind of love that comes with violence. That it's not an easy thing to do. So
and again, I mean, if they're in a really, really bad controlling relationship, I mean, again, it's I can leave, but what am I going to do for money? How am I going to live? Where am I going to go? Because they're good at, some of those people are good at isolating you from your friends and family.
Exactly.
And at that point, maybe they've cut you off from everybody, right? So you have no go. And these shelters, there's a lot of them, and they're good. They're good people, and it's better to have them than not. But some of them are not very well funded. And
plus, what if the other person goes after the person leaving? Then they are terrified, and
it can be really icky. There's a lot of things that have to be considered before someone can really, truly get out from under something like that.
Yeah, so I'm not saying I have a problem with the Devil, as in the title, but maybe that is a core title where I could actually see some evolvement, just like with the imagery of the Hierophant, because for some of us, the Hierophant is just, oh, it's a teacher, it's religion, but I'm gonna read the teacher aspect. But for a lot of people, it's trauma, and I think unlike the pregnant empress, the Hierophant doesn't have to be in it anymore. I think if we changed our ways as a society in most of the countries that I know, that we could replace that with an actual teacher, like
like a
something
guru
like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Because religion still can be a part of the card, but
Right.
it doesn't
Exactly.
have to be that certain religion that brings up so much trauma. So maybe I'm contradicting myself saying that, with the Empress, leave it there because you need to face your issues. But with the Hierophant, like, no, you can take it out. But I think pregnancy is part of life. It's going to be part of life. I think my personal belief, it's better if we still continue as a species with the natural side of things. My personal opinion. I don't want the artificial everything to be everything artificial.
Right.
But my personal opinion. But I mean, if it's a choice, obviously, I'm not talking about people who doesn't have a choice in that. So don't take it the wrong way.
You always should have a choice of what you do with your own body, and whether or not you want to do this, because
and if you can't have it in a natural way, I'm all for having it differently. I'm just saying, in a large brush stroke. Just
exactly, and I'm very, very much of the opinion that first, I kind of take more the Jewish perspective of, to me, life begins when the baby actually comes out. So prior to that, I'm very, very much in the, what do you want to do with your body? Again, that's just me. And, obviously I'm not going to crap all over anybody's choices, because those are your choices.
It should be yours. Exactly.
And it should be yours. Exactly.
I can judge you, but that's all I should be able to do. Judge you in my head and not actually make you do certain things in a way that I want them to be done. Because I'm just a tiny, floaty, human being who doesn't know all the secrets of the universe. So
exactly. And again, I just wanted to make that really clear, that by saying all of that, I'm not,
hi Jackie,
getting on anybody's choices. Hi Jackie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think if people have these issues they need to deal with. Maybe tarot is not the tool to turn to if they feel vulnerable like that. I was mentioning it here on the or before we started streaming. I have no idea anymore, but I think I said it here that that's why you have fluffy decks where all you get is rainbows and butterflies, and I had that need to read with something that will be like, it's okay, because that was the only level of tarot that I was able to deal with. So completely. But now I'm back to all the like horror tarot and whatever, because fortunately I'm back to there.
And and of course, tarot is not a substitute. No, it's a tool, it's an aid, it's not a substitute for therapy. Of course, we're going to throw out the whole Gerald disclaimers of, take care of yourself and purchase responsibly, all that good stuff. Know your limits.
I would never say, do a tarot reading instead of going to therapy if you have an option for that. But a lot of people don't have the option. And that's when tarot can be useful, because at least you can have some conversation with yourself about these issues. Yeah, not to mention that the fact that sometimes the abused person had actually come to believe they deserve, the abusive treatment. Or that is something
that's stuff.
Yeah, I mean, God,
there's how people like that can make you feel about yourself too. Absolutely, Donna.
Yeah, for entertainment purposes only. Yes. Always, and always. Yeah. I'm sorry. We had another like bot or troll thing.
Sorry about that.
No, nothing. It's okay.
I had and my brother just tried to call. I think he didn't know I was on the stream, so I can still hear everything okay, and I'll give him a call back.
Hi, your brother. Like he doesn't. He will never see this one, but hi, your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. So besides these obvious, I guess, cards that can cause issue, do you have something that you're personally bothered by? Maybe not in a way that you would be like, oh, everybody should rethink this, but on a personal level, like, I don't like anthropomor, when I can't say that word, when animals and humans are infused together and they like the bodies
Anthropomorphic,
of an
yeah.
animal or bodies of a human with an animal head for some, that's just my personal thing. But I'm curious about if you have something that it just in a more joking way, like this shouldn't ever be in a tarot deck because it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Anthropomorphic images, they bother me a little bit. I don't know why. They just do, even if they're really, really well done. I'm also
Yeah.
not a fan of animals in clothes for the most part. I'm very much just leave an animal. Leave a critter and make humans humans. That just my thing. Nothing against any decks I have it because Baba Studios in particular does some gorgeous decks
Yeah,
that
I'm
are a
so
little more
glad I don't want those.
anthropomorphized.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's a word, anthropomorphism. I don't know why I can't say it, but yeah. Thank you for spelling it out. It's easier to read. Yeah, and sorry, we're not doing readings. I'm not doing readings on this channel. I have a second channel where you can, find pick a card and stuff like that. But you're very much welcome to, hang around and talk to people because it's a lovely community if you want to. So do you have anything else, like a specific card that you like? The Ten of Swords, you look for an image and you don't want it to be a certain way. It doesn't have to be a big thing. I'm just, curious.
One thing that's always bothered me, and it's not a big, this is a more of a small issue because
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
kind of touched on the bigger ones that I have
yeah. I think
problems
so.
with, honestly, already. For me, it's making all of the court cards young and hot instead of maybe at least the King of Pentacles and the King of Swords, making them
Yeah.
a little more mature, like that distinguished, wise, I've been through some stuff, I know
Agreed.
things kind of energy. Or if they do that, then they got a young hot queen next to it. It's like, well, come on, women age too, and we can age gracefully. You know,
Yeah.
come on. I want to
Yeah. I
see
really.
that Queen of Swords
Yeah.
who's just like, all right, I'm 60. I've done all these things. I'm tired of your shit. What do you want?
And that's why I'm wise, because I have some experience under my belt. And I completely agree. And now you mention it, yeah, one of my pet peeves is when the emperor is old and the empress is really young, and I'm like, that's your male fantasy over there, marrying a 20-something when you're 60. Like, go away and deal with your own issues. Because I
Yeah.
understand that in the Middle Ages when you had to have children and get the line
Yeah,
going and stuff like that, it was important, but it's still disgusting in my opinion. Go deal with your
yeah.
issues, like.
It gets really uncomfortable, if it's too big of an age difference.
Yeah.
That makes me a little uncomfortable. And I also don't like, can we not make the emperor look like this over controlling douchebag? Can we please make him look like someone you would actually want to be an emperor?
Yeah, it's interesting that a lot of illustrations are on the shadowy side of things. But I mean, and I don't want to say that a young women and an older guy can be happily married, and for some people it works, but on a general scale, when there's an age difference, it just doesn't work. So that's why. And yeah, I do think about issues with there as well. But I was thinking, I think the only couple where I uh, like if the king and the queen is younger is the ones, because they are still in the let's go, we're passionate, let's just do things, and we're like full of energy, full of vitality, full of fire, we're young
Right.
pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. But
Actually, if you
pentacles.
want, let me go out and come back in real quick because my audio is being a little funny. And I
Oh,
want to make sure that I'm hearing you correctly, because I
okay.
think when that call tried to come through, I think it messed with my volume a little bit.
Okay.
I
Okay.
will be right back. Give me just 2 seconds, okay?
Okay. No worries. And now there's only one. So yeah, and I forgot to say, you guys, if you have, like cards like that, which are not the big ones that we talked about, if you have extra or other cards, even if, like I said, it doesn't have to be a serious big thing that bothers you, but I'm just curious which cards are maybe triggering in a way for people because, we have Ange, and you just arrived when Sarah had to step out for a second, but she's here. I promise. It's not just me talking for 15 minutes now. And I wanted to message you and ask you how you're doing. So yeah, hope you're doing okay. So yeah, I'm curious if nothing else, it adds more. Yes, yes. And to be honest, I'm kind of I'm gonna should I wait for Sarah? But I'm gonna kind of contradict myself with the Empress because on the deck that I slowly started doing and I haven't had any chance to continue with it, I purposefully chose an old lady as the Empress because I kind of wanted age to be not just represented, but put it in a card that is about power and you know being
There we
uh,
go.
yeah. So I was just talking about that. I'm gonna kind of contradict myself because in a deck that I just started, so I don't have time to work on decks, but I started a tarot deck and I chose an old lady as the Empress and not a like a young pregnant one, but sort of like a happy grandma energy
I love
because
that.
yeah, and I put the like a pregnant ladies for the lovers card, so I'm like I have them. But I kind of wanted the age representation, not just be like, oh, I'm gonna pick an old king and I'm gonna pick an old queen and we're gonna be happy about age. But I think I picked a young person for the Hierophant as well. No, the Hermit. So I think there's more options for age to be represented without losing the card's meaning. So
Absolutely.
always, yeah, I'm looking forward to people to put more. Maybe it's because I'm getting older. Obviously, when I was young, who cared about old people? Like I didn't. Like that mentality. But now I'm like, I want to see people who are 40 and like at my age and go through that middle age thing that I'm going through because I don't know how to do that. But seeing it in a card would maybe help.
Yeah, make you, everybody always,
Oh, and we have
see
Ange
them.
here, so like, we have Ange here. She just arrived when you were out, so
Yeah.
yay.
No, we really do need to see more of that because everybody should see themselves somewhere in the tarot, even if
I
it's
don't
not
need
in
that
every
though.
single deck. You should be able to, at least somewhere in some deck at some point, find a card that you connect with that's like, yeah, that's my experience. I see that. I
Yeah,
live that.
yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I don't even know what I want, huh? Because I don't look for me in a deck, but I guess I'm looking for shared experiences, and because I'm not bothered by the body beautiful and perfect major arcana, especially because for me those are archetypes and archetypes are perfect. So obviously
Right,
they're gonna be
right,
perfect because those are the perfect versions of ourselves because none of us is like a clean empress or a
right.
clean emperor. It's just not what it is. It's just that it's an energy to work with. In the minors, I appreciate it more if it's like a more everyday type of situation.
Right, exactly. And it's because that's what you look for in the minors, especially because you are trying to connect with your everyday experience.
Yeah. Donna says that's what I was thinking. It's more important to me now that I am of a certain age.
Right. And it's so funny how
Yeah.
that creeps up on you too. One day you wake up and you went, when the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
This person was born in 2004, and oh my God, I'm old.
I mean, this person was born 10 days ago. Like, 10 days. My second nephew. I can't get over the fact that, I mean, he was born on the 11th of November. It's 11/11. Like, how? I was like, it's the 4 of 1s. It's a perfect card, like a perfect date to be born on. It's like 11/11. But,
Right.
obviously I couldn't say because I'm not, their family side is not into these things. So I'm like, I was just in myself. I was like, 11/11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah. I understand that people want to connect with a card within the deck, but for me, the connection is more the energy of the archetype versus the imagery. That's true. Although imagery can add to the connection, for sure.
That's fair.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I can read with any decks if it's not Marseille or Thoth, obviously. But how much I can get out of a reading, it still depends on the card. So, I'm not at a level where I can just push a button up somewhere here, maybe here, and be like, I doesn't care because the information is going to flow through me and I will connect with something. I'm not at that level. Maybe I will never will be, but I really enjoy the imagery, and especially with decks, there's a lot to see because I'm like, oh, I can notice this right now, and maybe later it's gonna be that. So it adds to the reading.
Exactly, and honestly, I'm very much in the camp of you do you, boo. However you come to the tarot, whatever it means to you and how you get there, that's up to you. It's your relationship with the cards. It doesn't have to be the same as mine.
Yeah, I mean, people who were born in the 2000, like in 2000, they are 22 years old now. Like,
I know my niece. She was a 2000 baby, so yeah, she's.
I mean, we were expecting the world to end. That was the Jennifer Lopez song. Waiting for tonight, when the clocks stops.
Right, and I'm waiting for the millennium, and you were all like,
we were waiting for people to be, like the Mayan calendar, and it's ending, and we're gonna all die, and everything like that. And then, of course, later you learn that the calendar doesn't even work like that. It's not even that date. It doesn't even mean that. It's just switching between the certain, like part of it. So.
And on top of that, I mean, if you think about it, the Mayans mapped out all the way to 2012. Did they really need to go further than that?
Yeah. Yes, the image is why many of us own way too many decks. I mean, Ange, have you seen or heard about the holographic True Black Tarot? Because there is such a thing. There's a 5th anniversary holographic True Black Tarot, and I'm going to show you the picture again because I'm so mean that I want people to suffer with me. So look what you can get if you check the site when it's restocking on Friday. I'm just saying. Please feel bad for me because I will try to get one.
Yep.
I graduated high school in 2000. I mean, I don't even know what I did besides that Jennifer Lopez song.
I'm 2 years older than that, so yeah, I graduated high school in '98, so it's been 25 plus years. But yeah, no, the only thing I remember is I did 1999 by Prince right before it turned, and then Waiting for Tonight as soon as it did. That's what yay, it's 2000. I put that song on and danced around a little bit, and then was like, okay, I'm over it. Happy New Year.
Yeah, we were like, we didn't die at midnight, so we can go to sleep and start the new year.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen to my Prince song, watch the ball drop, listen to Jennifer Lopez, got my little not there yet. Now I'm going to bed. Good night.
Yeah, I was still trying to be like, oh, I'm gonna be up for New Year's and everything. Now I'm like, can we stop with the fireworks, please? I want to go to sleep. Can we stop and pretend it matters? I don't care. I don't celebrate. I don't, because for me it doesn't make sense to end the year or start the year there. For me, it ends with Christmas. That's the final big thing in the year, and then after that, it's already in the new one. So, I'm like, I'm over the whole New Year thing. Yes, holographic. I know. I know. Where
Very
has
sad.
time gone? Do you want to think about it? It's the middle
This
of
whole year has
November.
been like that. I mean,
I mean, it was full of horrible things. Don't get me wrong. This year is
it's
getting
been
the
rough.
crown of the shittiest year in the previous three ones. So I'm like, can we get something better finally? Like, I don't know if you're done with the planetary things that are. I'm assuming not. But
Yeah.
it's the chariot. Next year is the chariot. So
Yep. And for me,
maybe
it's
we're
gonna
gonna move
be
forward.
yeah. For me, it's the star.
Mm. I mean, just
So
in as in the big, like this
bigger.
year was the
Yeah.
lovers. I mean,
Yep. No,
mine.
and my bigger one, my card for the year for my birthday was the tower. So
Same.
I'm ready for this to be. I'm ready. Let's get to the star, please, please. Let's get to that. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm
I
done.
mean, I think mine was the tower. When were you born? The year.
1979, December
Oh,
7th, 1979.
oh, yo, you have to. Yeah, because I was born in 82, 1st of February, but I kind of completely forget already which card
Yeah.
was my.
Yeah. That's why I say I don't count as a 70s baby. I was only in the 70s for 3 weeks.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
80s
Yeah.
kid. I'm an 80s
I mean,
kid.
I'm an 80. I mean, I was a teenager in the 90s. So yeah, I was born in the 80s, but I was a baby. So who cares? I'm 90s
Yep.
baby. Like I know the music. I still love the music. I love stuff like Buffy and really stupid
Of
uh,
course.
TV shows.
I
Like I don't even know anymore. But yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm more of an 80s girl because the 90s was my teenage years and those were rough. So I kind of blanked a
oh,
lot of that out and a lot of the music out because it reminds me of too much.
I mean,
Oh
are
my
you
God,
excited for
right?
the Buffy deck?
Tequila. Oh, there's a
Yeah.
reason it's called tequila.
I mean, I never I never
Shots
had
of
tequila rose. I don't even know what tequila rose is. I only had tequila, like silver. But
I cannot drink.
are you excited for before we finish off? Are you excited for the Buffy deck?
I'm cautiously hopeful, but
Same.
I haven't been entirely impressed with a lot of Inside Editions. I mean, I love my Labyrinth Tarot, but my nostalgia for that is so strong. I think
Yeah.
it overcame a lot of the things because let's face it, yeah, the Inside Editions, some of them are pretty cool, but they've
Yeah.
really been hit or miss. They've really been hit or miss. So I don't know.
I
And
mean,
I
they are
love,
improving. So I'm hopeful
yeah,
because they are improving. And Amazon has already, preview pictures, and Sander is the Fool, for example, which I think is a perfect choice.
yes,
And I
yes.
like the illustration style. So
And yes, I'm a
Buffy is
huge
the only
Spice
one.
Girl.
Yeah, Buffy is the only one who doesn't really look like herself in the Emperor card that you can see in the preview, which I'm like, it's Buffy. But the others are really good, like Willow as I think she's the magician, and I would have picked her, I think, as a high priestess. But I'm kind of curious. I can't remember if we've seen the high priestess. Who is it? But we haven't seen, for example, who's the empress. So I'm quite curious who's gonna be, and if they're gonna, use characters from later seasons, or is it just like the beginning? But I'm kind of hoping it's gonna be good because it's Buffy,
Right?
Yeah, I stretched Christmas through the whole week until New Year's Day. Stay. I mean, in Hungary, the tradition is to leave it up till what's the religious thing? I think it's the 4th of January. There's some religious thing. Then we usually leave it up until that because we used to. But I kind of started a new trend, and I'm like, I'm decorating on the 1st of December because if there's nothing before the holiday, I'm not in a mood. And only being in the mood for like 3 days is just not enough. Like, I want to be in the Christmas spirit sooner. So
Exactly. And like me personally, I'm okay with anything after Thanksgiving.
I miss the 90s.
Anything after Thanksgiving, I'm good with. As long as I'm not listening to all I
We
want
don't
for
have,
Christmas is
we
you
don't
on
have Thanksgiving.
Halloween. Oh, that gets me mad every time. It's like, stop. I want to enjoy my spooky season. Not until after Turkey Day. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
Then we can
like,
start with
you know,
all of that.
yeah, we don't have Thanksgiving here, so there's nothing. And Halloween is not even a big thing. It's just, some people buy decoration, and then there's some families where they are doing it in a part of our town when there are a lot of kids. There's a lot of kids in everywhere, but in that specific area, they were doing trick or treating, which I think is really cool because kids can enjoy that if it's safe and whatever. So, but for us, there's no disruption, no Thanksgiving, so we can be in the Christmas mood early from December because no one cares.
Yeah.
I'm the generation of the kids in Stranger
Yes.
Things. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's the one that I want to get my hands on for Inside Edition. If there's one that I'm
Really?
out of all those that I'm excited about, that's the one because that's my
I
series.
wanted it,
That's my favorite show.
but and I'm so because it was illustrated by a Hungarian person, not living in Hungary, obviously, but whatever. And I was like, oh, like it's Hungarian illustration. And then I checked the deck and I'm like, I'm not connecting with the art style. So I'm like, I don't know. So I didn't get it. Buffy's mom is the Empress.
A little bit. I can see the Empress.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm rewatching the series, so I remember not more correctly, or clearly. But she was so out of the loop for so long, and there were issues. So I don't know if I would seen her as a major arcana.
Yeah.
But just me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't even imagine someone from the US wouldn't be like Thanksgiving. So
It's totally an excuse to have a tryptophan and beer coma. That's what I say. Because you eat all the turkey and all the carbs, and you have a beer, put on the game, and you fall asleep watching the game because.
I mean, I would love to visit someone in the US during Halloween season. I would like to see all the decoration and people, like going out and doing that. I would like to be invited to a Thanksgiving dinner because all the food, all the time,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I want to try that. Plus, watching the game in the afternoon, not in the middle of the night, trying to find a connection to be able to see something. And Christmas in New York. I still want to go to the plaza or something like that, the Rockefeller Center. And I'm like, oh,
right.
I watch the movies. I want to experience that.
Exactly. Just so you know, if you're ever in this neck of the woods at Thanksgiving, free invite, man. We'll feed you.
Oh,
That's
thank you.
what I do.
Yeah, if I ever manage to, I mean, I hope I manage to go and visit. I will be like touring. I'm like, I need to go here and meet someone here, and then I need to visit that, and people need to come close to me so I can meet with them. So it's gonna be a little tour for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't been fond of the art in any of the Inside Edition decks.
That's
I actually
fair.
really like, yeah,
They
I
are
actually really like
really
the supernatural, but I understand, But they are putting out different art styles, which I do appreciate because the Lord of the Rings theirs as well. It's similar to the Labyrinth, that
It's
wooden.
very, very similar to the point of I was almost a little disappointed that it wasn't more distinctly Lord of the Rings. I still like it. I still think I'll be able to read with it, but as far as like, to me, there's another one that you can get through Etsy that's more based on the movies. Those images spoke a little bit more to me.
Yeah, I think Ben from Beneficial Tarot, I think he posted one, and I was like,
yeah, he did a
that deck
is. It's pretty.
Yeah,
Very pretty.
Yeah, and there's gonna be a new one which I didn't like the series, The Dark Crystal. On Netflix.
No way.
It's the
Really?
same. It's the same art style as the Lord of the Rings and the Labyrinth.
Yes. Okay.
I'm not sure.
That's going on.
I'm not sure if it's
No, I
already
don't
out
love
or
Jim
not.
Henson as a kid. I don't know what you're talking about. Not me.
Yeah, I mean, you should check Amazon because I'm not sure if it's already out or pre-order, but it was in the new releases list because I was window shopping yesterday, so I've seen.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, obviously big 80s kid, but Jim Henson was my childhood. Dot, period. I mean, Muppet
I
Show,
mean,
Fraggle Rock, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, Labyrinth, Dark Crystal. That was all my stuff.
yeah, we grew up in a different TV program area, I guess. But I was thinking, X Files. If they would ever do an X Files tarot, that would, I think, is a cool idea. I'm not sure if they would ever do that, but why not? Thanksgiving is gathering in food, yeah, the pressure and actually buying presents, yeah. Yeah, that comes later for Christmas and Black Friday and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how we have Black Friday and everything now as well, like we have the commercial side of things. The best part of the turkey is getting the wishbone. Oh, and after then getting the big part when you break it to someone. Is it the good thing? I can never remember. So when you break it, your wish is getting granted if you get the big one then? That's
I
how it
think that's
works?
how it goes. We haven't done an actual wishbone in, oh God, since I was
We did
little,
that for a while.
because
Yeah, I can
most
remember.
of my family don't actually like the dark meat, so most of the time we just get turkey breasts.
Ah. I'm always comparing the supernatural deck to the one that never was. That artist whose name I forget, yeah, same, did an amazing job. Yes, I do. I do think that they illustrated the deck and they look how the characters look. And my description for the deck is the one that I love to hate because I'm like, "Ugh, it could have been better." So yeah, Jim Henson is everything.
Yes,
X
yes.
Files Zero, yes, please, yes.
No,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
you want the
coming up
bigger
on
one.
that time again between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I need to rewatch my Emmett Otter's Jug Band and have my little nostalgia mix of Chex Mix.
Feel. Okay, but we should finish because I still have, not because of you, it's just because it's Sunday and I have to go to work tomorrow.
Ugh.
I'm so excited.
I know. I can feel it wafting all the way over here. Believe me, I understand. I don't have to work tomorrow, but I have so much to do.
Yeah, but you
Tomorrow.
worked previously, like so it's
I had
but
to work
whatever. At least
Saturday,
you
which
get
is a bummer.
yeah,
You should not work
yeah,
Saturday. That's evil.
yeah. I think yeah. I mean, sometimes I had to work, in the library because the library is open on Saturday. It's half a day, but still, that was like, oh, the weekend is not full. But now I'm like, I don't have any time to do anything because I only have the weekend, and I know I should shut up because I have a job, and I'm very very grateful for that and all
Right.
the stress. But yeah, my new job is I work for a company who's helping Korean people who live in Hungary with administrative stuff and preparing accounting for the accountant. So we are checking a lot of receipts and bills and VAT stuff, and I'm like, it's so not me. That yeah, it's not something that I can see for doing too long, and I don't think I will. I mean, the boss is out of the country and he doesn't know that I have a YouTube channel, but you know. My friend knows, but my friend doesn't use YouTube these days, so I can say whatever because she's not gonna see it. But I mean, I told her, I was honest that it's not something that I mean. I'm very very grateful for her for getting me the job and being here right now. But I already talked to the library and told my boss there that if there's an opening, I'm open, and if she wants me back, I'm coming. Because so hopefully
Sounds a
I
lot more
mean
fulfilling. So yeah,
i
I can
mean
definitely understand that.
yeah, I mean, I left because I had issues with her, and but she's not gonna watch this either, so I can talk. And she doesn't, I don't think she speaks English that well, so hopefully she doesn't know. She won't, will never know. I mean, if she will find this and understand this and watch this, then the universe doesn't want me to go back. That's, let's just say that. But I had issues with her and I had to leave when I left. It was just really starting to get on my health. I was starting to have health issues because of the stress and whatever. And then I had the job, which was lovely, working from home, but that was limited until my sister came back from maternity leave. So it was just 2 years. I know for a lot of people, you don't get that much time for, like, I know. And we
Like,
used to be three, actually. Like the first two was call something, and then there was an extra year where you still got like 80% of your wage. So it was still manageable for people to stay at home with kids. But now they change things and you basically get nothing. So you have to go back to work. And because she didn't get pregnant for the second time, it was time for me to go. And I'm really sad about that, actually, because it was a good job. It was from home. I had a lot more free time. And, I was just rolling out of bed. I was working and I was like, dun, 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 dun. I didn't have to like travel an hour to and then an hour from. But I think because I learned to deal with a lot of issues in the 2 years, I'm prepared to go back to the library and deal with the stress that will come up, obviously, because she didn't change. I had to change if I wanted something like that. But I kind of want to go back, and this is a completely different topic from what we started. But I kind of wanted to go back because I can see myself being a librarian for the rest of my life if I'm that lucky to have just one job, even if it's not the best paying job, even if it's working late hours or working on Saturday or something, it's still something that I actually enjoy doing. And I kind of learned already since I'm here at this place that I'm not the type of person who can do anything to earn money. It might sounds entitled or like ugh, but I was thinking that it doesn't matter. I will learn the job, and deal with it, but it actually matters. So at least I learned something about myself again. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Even the worst jobs can teach you something.
Yeah.
Even
And
if
it's
that's
not
just
even the worst.
even if that's just wow, that sucked. Let's not do that again.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, I will actually shut up and
Retail.
let you go.
In retail.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Next week I won't have a live stream for
It's all
sure.
good.
Yeah. Uh, I have no idea after that, but yeah, no, Sarah, you're freezing a little. But before we go, do you have anything coming up on your channel?
Not planned necessarily. I'm gonna try to upload a couple of videos I recorded forever ago and just never got a chance to upload them.
Cool.
But beyond that, I'd like to do a couple of VRs. Obviously, I'll post about those before I do them. Just so that people can follow along, and I'll tag the people who made the posts in them that I know are going to want to follow them. And eventually, I want to do a live. I'm considering doing one for my birthday, depending on how things go and if I'm on for my birthday. If that happens, I'll definitely post about it a few days ahead of time instead of like 2 seconds before. Because
Yeah, I would love
I'm
to join.
terrible about planning. So this way I can at least give somebody, hey, if you're available, here you go, birthday live stream. Hang out. If I do it, it won't be anything big. It'll just be, hi, hang out with me for my birthday for a little bit. But because I'm trying to get into the habit and swing of them before I maybe start having guests and start figuring out how to do that and how to work a live stream, maybe get some better tech set up, and yeah, a lot of little things I'd love to do.
Cool. And I can't wait to see all the VRs because, those are fun to do. And I hope I can join for your live. But even if I can't, if you post, like if you schedule it, I can share it with, people on the community tab. So maybe, some new people will join who just want to support you because you're lovely. And I'm just so glad that you're here because I always enjoy talking to you. And thank you so much for coming on for a topic that's not even easy. And thank you so much for talking honestly because, it requires some vulnerability, not a word, on everybody's part, to talk about issues like that. So
exactly. And I'm just happy to be here. And thank you for the invite.
Of course.
Hey, if I'm free, I'll come say hi and chat with you anytime. So this was lovely. And I'm so glad that we had, a couple of wonderful people hanging out in chat. That was beautiful to see people chiming in. I'm gonna read through the live chats and comments and stuff later, obviously too, so I can actually kind of respond to some of what was
cool.
going on. But yeah, I had a great time. I really appreciate it, and yeah, I just hope everybody has a beautiful, safe rest of the day and all that good stuff. And take care of yourselves, all that good yada yada. Mom, friend, you know how I am.
Yeah, and like I said in the beginning, Sarah is gonna join me on the 18th of December for a Christmas Yule themed, live stream as well. So she's gonna be back on my channel for sure soon. So yeah, thank you so much, and let's start with the awkward waving because I'm gonna push the button. So bye.